Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's gonna be Deimos, one of the top Protoss bots, taking on yet another very good bot, Zozo. Yes, so we've got ourselves a PvP here, ladies and gentlemen, but the matchup doesn't matter as much as it's more a bot versus bot match, where the rules are a little bit different. And this should be really fun between these two, as they're both quite aggressive bots. Zozo opens up with a probe scout on Deimos. Deimos blocks its gas, knowing that gas steals are a very real threat. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches, and then subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And yeah, I hope everyone's having a good week or weekend whenever this video lands. I've been working on my own bot a little bit. To my limited capability. At some point I'm gonna have to start it from the ground up, as now I know that I can create a bot. There's a lot more work to do to sort of make it more adaptable and easily changeable. Alright, so we have got Zozo going actually for a 1-gate expand. And if you've heard of PvP, it's kind of the Protoss that blinks first, the Protoss that expands first can be the one that potentially dies first, as it is probably the matchup that is most risky to expand in. More risky, well, yeah, probably, just out of all the matchups, because Protoss can be so darn aggressive. They've got lots of options about it, and if you play Protoss, you know that you've got to have pretty solid defense. Otherwise, the game can just get away from you. Deimos does elect to go for a double adept opening and a Stargate behind that. Meanwhile, Zozo just has another gateway on the way, yet to start up Warp Gate, notably because Zozo doesn't go for Warp Gate ever, I don't think. It's still on my Christmas wish list for this bot to eventually utilize Warp Gate, just from a pure efficiency point, as I mean, like, it does allow gateways to produce units quicker. Like, a stalker producing out of a gateway takes 30 seconds, whereas a warp gate has something like a 14-second cooldown, so it's significantly less. Now, probes have to be pulled off the line in order to try and deal with these adepts of Deimos. The stalkers for Zozo are trying to deal with these adepts, and we saw in chat, door block squad, save for door block. Unfortunately, there was never a block at the door, and so these adepts for Deimos do get in. They're starting to cause some big damage. Now, Zozo can afford to take some damage, as of course it did go for that earlier Nexus, so it's just about limiting how much damage that was. The second door block is successful that time, so adepts do not get into the base. Unfortunately, that does lock the probes at the natural base in there. The adept does try and sneak by once the stalkers come out, but now the stalkers are out, and they should be able to clean this up. Meanwhile, Deimos investing in these adepts early on means that its ground army isn't quite as big as its opponent. That's the cost of committing to these. That's the cost of committing to these adepts. They usually die if you go for that many probes. Overall, the worker losses were 12 probes, though, to 3 adepts, which isn't a bad trade for the red Protoss at all. Worker counts are even. The red Toss is getting up a Nexus as well, so the game should even out. The biggest factor in this game now at this point is what this Oracle is going to achieve, if anything, as Oracles are something that are not exactly fine-tuned in the bot scene. Sharkbot, notably, has been having very good Oracle play. But, yes, it's not something that we see from every Protoss bot every game. The results can be mixed. Some bots utilize them very effectively for Revelation, like -0. But, yeah, there's still maybe some exploration as they are a unit that you can probably go about coding in many different ways what you want to prioritize as its function. Alright, Stalkers are trying to push away this Oracle. It is currently just scouting for Deimos, just dropping lots of revelations. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think I already did the spiel, or did I forget the spiel on this one? Anyway, you guys know the spiel. Big thanks to everyone that does click that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to. The main thing that I want to say, though, is that if you guys do want to check out sort of what goes on in the AI scene, I highly recommend checking out AIarena.net. That's where all these games are played. You can go check out the current season, see who's battling who, and that's actually how I decided to cast a Zozo game here today, because it also provides a cool little list of which bots have been recently updated, so you can sort of track who's actively working on their bot, and that's just cool to see. Because then you can click on it and go, oh, what did they change, if anything big? Usually it's nothing too major with the more advanced bots, because of course they're already quite well-rounded, so it's more just tweaks at this point, and slight improvements. Now, Zozo does go for its own Stargate behind this. There's a Forge on the way, a third Nexus going down too. So, just getting that economy going. There's also a third Nexus up for Deimos. We've fallen into a respectful PvP macro game after that early Adept harassment. I do like the Forge coming out of Zozo, as +1 could definitely be big in a situation like this. However, it may not live to get +1, as we do have Deimos moving across the map now, gonna get aggressive, and there is 2 Immortals. And Immortals are pretty darn good against Stalkers. However, as far as the Stalker numbers goes, Deimos is completely outnumbered, so it could actually be overcommitting. We'll see. It's really going to depend on the micro between these two bots. Stalkers just en masse against Immortals and Stalkers. The Immortal so far has taken quite a bit of damage for Deimos as it's pushed back. And there is a couple Stalkers hitting the third of Zozo, but it does look like Zozo has a successful defense. We see a tag Phoenix 703. That is Zozo producing its own Phoenix, which, who knows, maybe it will hunt down that Oracle or something. But the red Protoss does kind of get bypassed a little bit, as Zozo is just trying to chase down the Odd Stalker. Deimos is looking for that fight, but the micro of Zozo is looking really good. It's clumping these Stalkers up incredibly well, and Deimos is just falling away. This is not something we see too often. Deimos almost getting out-positioned or out-microed. Like, these Immortals, they're just dying. That's basically it. And so Zozo is on pursuit. Deimos is on the back foot, as the red Protoss has got units all over the place, but as far as pure numbers go, that does mean Zozo is able to dominate here. And I wonder if that is part of it. The fact that Zozo just had so many Stalkers, whatever math was going on, it said, yeah, I've got the bigger army, the more number. The quality is debatable, but as far as bots go, that kind of did just force Deimos to retreat endlessly. Now it's a mass amount of Stalkers for Zozo pushing into Deimos. 18 Stalkers against 1 Immortal and 3 Stalkers. That is going to be a tall order for the red Protoss to defend. Deimos is falling back. There is, however, no battery at that third base. That's very painful, as Zozo just pushes on in, now producing its own Immortal, getting a fleet beacon on the way. +1 is on the way for both bots. We've got Blink on the way for Deimos, but that third base, I'm not sure it's going to materialize in this game. The Oracle actually did go down at some point during this. Pardon me for not catching that during this chaos. We've got double Immortal production going out for Deimos, which is very important, as, I mean, if it can get out like a solid backbone of Immortals, it could just start cutting through these Stalkers, and it's not doing a bad job presently defending the third base, as Zozo is a little bit more split up. The more Immortals that pop out, the better this will get for Deimos, particularly with Zozo split up like this. And now that Deimos is defending on its bases, it's not really backing out. It's kind of in a corner, so it's got no choice to fight, which is actually what the Immortals need to do, it seems. Zozo, though, has got up a 4th base, whereas Deimos had its 3rd base shut down hard. Now the red Protoss is going to try and counter. +1, it finishes just a few moments before that of Zozo. Now they're going to fight in the middle of the map once again. There is 3 Immortals out for Deimos. The Concave is looking better for the red Toss. 1 Immortal is out for Zozo, and that's the funny thing about these bot fights. Like, it seems one bot wins and one bot clearly loses, as now Zozo really is on the back foot, shuffling these Immortals, trying to keep all the units clumped up together. Deimos, though, is producing more Immortals during this chaos, up to 5 presently. Zozo, still consistently producing its own off a single Robo, is up to 3, so, like, it's not the biggest difference in the world. The Natural is now being pressured hard, as Zozo is actually going for a counterattack, just abandoning ship. Its single Immortal with a battery overcharge is staying alive for a long time, but that does eventually go down. Now probes are being conscripted into the fight, and Deimos has a bit of a head start in what appears to be a bot base race. I'm not sure that Zozo has the units it needs, though, in order to push into the base of Deimos. So Deimos is doing pretty well here. Zozo has got units on that high ground, but the Concave is good for the red Protoss. Another Immortal does pop out. More Stalkers are being produced en masse. This Immortal trying to go down the ramp and be a hero, but, I mean, there's 3 Immortals down there to counter him, so that's a little risky, my guy. Zozo loses an expansion. We've got Stalkers hitting another attempt at the 4th base for Deimos, but the attack, I mean, has been way more successful for the red Protoss, as Zozo seems to be getting struck down here. The Cyber Core goes down. That means no more Stalker production, which could potentially just break Zozo at this point. It's now half the army supply. Deimos has better upgrades. And yeah, what was a bit of a rocky start for Deimos has all of a sudden really, really turned around. Unless Deimos elects to up and go home, I think it's in a really great spot. And it just goes to show how the pendulum can swing in these bot games. Like, Deimos took a bad fight at first, and then Zozo took a bad fight. Deimos just was able to capitalize on it better and just push in and not really let go. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this match, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also check out my second channel. I just upload tournament VODs on there at the minute, but I may make the odd video here and there. And yeah, just more Starcraft is good Starcraft. Join my Discord as well, which is linked down below. Come talk about bots, ask questions, that kind of thing. Yeah, Deimos is just dead in this one, though. A single Immortal is wreaking havoc at the 4th base of Deimos. But that is not going to be enough for Zozo to win this game, unfortunately, as it's out of probes and out of luck. Well done by Deimos to bring that one back, and it just goes to show that these PvPs between bots can be very, very exciting. Well, the one Immortal stays alive for now. Unfortunately, no probes remain for Zozo, so the chance of it winning this game is basically 0. Deimos goes into Tempest behind this, because why not? And yeah, it's just a matter of cleaning everything up. GG.